Being with him for so many years, it's amazing to see a kid from a man to a grown man.
Going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested and it was once again put in doubt.
Before the fight was canceled on Monday after a civil lawsuit filed by ex-girlfriend Courtney Rozelle accused Davis of battery and aggravated battery.
Calvin Ford broke down in tears during a live stream after learning about Gervonta, Tank Davis's arrest. He spoke about their long journey together, from surviving tough streets to reaching the heights of boxing. Ford said he watched Tank grow from a kid into a world champion, and seeing everything fall apart has been heartbreaking. His voice shook as he described the pain and disappointment he feels, admitting that it feels like their unstoppable run has come to a tragic halt. The moment showed just how deeply this situation has affected the people closest to Tank.
Crazy. That's why I said this, yo, you can't write this, man. You cannot write this. My experience being gone, and all the stuff that I went through preparing me for where I'm at today. You know, and Tank is older. He had the lessons, getting his lessons of what he got to do, take us the rest of the way. And this is his take us the rest of the way.
Gervonta Davis has found himself at the center of multiple controversies throughout his career. Earlier this year, he faced serious allegations from the mother of his children, involving claims of mistreatment, a case that was ultimately dismissed. However, shortly afterward, a separate lawsuit was filed against him by another woman, adding more fuel to the ongoing scrutiny surrounding the star boxer. Even though the initial case was dropped, the back-to-back legal issues have affected Davis's public image and intensified media attention. Analysts point out that personal problems rarely stay private for high-profile athletes, especially in an era where public perception can shift rapidly. Success inside the ring does not guarantee protection from criticism or legal challenges outside of it. In the modern sports world, fans and the boxing community judge fighters not only by their performance, but also by their behavior and character. For Davis, these incidents highlight a difficult reality. Accomplishments alone cannot shield an athlete from the consequences of personal controversies. Maintaining both professional greatness and personal integrity has become one of the toughest battles he faces.
Which never happened. The Paul camp still thought Tank is a big enough name regardless of his previous result to go ahead with this bout. But just as they were going to announce this fight initially, DV allegations dropped. Tank was arrested and it was once again put in doubt. Then the charges were dropped. A week later, they announced the event. So that kind of brings us to today. This event hasn't been smooth sailing so far, and was almost destined that there would end up being a few more bumps in the road before we actually saw the two facing off. And about as big of a bump as you could really get has now hit the promotion. A civil suit has been filed against Tank, in which his ex-girlfriend accuses him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. While it was also reported by ESPN that a report has been filed additionally with the Miami Gardens Police Department last Tuesday. However, as I'm recording this, there's yet to be any criminal charges. Now, these alleged incidents happened last month, which was after the announcement of the fight. You would think if you're Tank on the verge of the biggest payday he's ever gotten, he would be doing anything to stay out of trouble, yet he continues to find himself in negative situations again and again. But in saying all of this, everything at the moment is very much alleged, and I'm not really here to talk about the validity of these claims. What I am here to talk about though is the impact this might have on the boxing event in a couple weeks time. Now, Tank vs Paul, love or hate the idea of it, was destined to be one of the most viewed fights of the year. Although there are rumours of there being poor ticket sales, the at-home
Roy Jones Jr. commented that Gervonta Davis has been dealing with personal difficulties for quite some time, and the latest lawsuit only adds to the weight on his shoulders. He noted that the timing of these issues, arriving just as Davis was preparing for his highly anticipated fight against Jake Paul, has created an extremely stressful and chaotic moment in the young champion's life. Jones explained that many within the boxing world were already aware of Davis's history of challenges outside the ring, making the situation not entirely surprising. However, he stressed that the impact remained significant. Davis has been dealing with personal difficulties for quite some time, and the latest lawsuit only adds to the weight on his shoulders. He noted that the timing of these issues, arriving just as Davis was preparing for his highly anticipated fight against Jake Paul, has created an extremely stressful and chaotic moment in the young champion's life. Jones explained that many within the boxing world were already aware of Davis's history of challenges outside the ring, making the situation not entirely surprising. However, he stressed that the impact remained significant. With the fight now cancelled, Davis is forced to face not only intense public criticism but also the emotional and financial disappointment of losing a major opportunity. According to Jones, this moment represents a painful crossroads for Davis, a test of resilience that will determine whether he can rise above his personal battles or be consumed by them.
What were your thoughts on that whole thing?
Man, I really don't want to even have much to say about that because everybody take it the bad way. But all I'm gonna say is this: Jake Paul knew what it was when he first signed the fight. This ain't the first time he had battered against a woman. You knew what it was when you first signed the fight. So don't get mad and cuss him out and talk bad about him now. You knew what it was when you signed up for it. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's not do that. I don't talk bad about him either, but don't do the dude like that. No, the dude having a hard time in his life right now. Don't just do him like that. You know what I mean? Because you knew exactly what he was when you signed him to fight the first time. All I gotta say.
Tank's team has kind of been bringing that, like, talking about just some of Jake's past, and more kind of said that Jake said he's actually afraid to fight Tank. I mean, do you think it leaned a little more on that side, and they're just selling it the other way?
I already know what it is. Like I said, I already know. I'll get into it, but we all know when young guys go through issues.
Jake Paul has spoken out about the situation involving Gervonta Davis, offering his own perspective on what happened. According to Paul, Davis was completely sober and fully aware of his actions during the incident. Paul emphasized that there was no attempt by Davis to shift blame or claim intoxication as an excuse, portraying him as fully accountable in the moment. Paul's comments suggest that he believes Davis understood exactly what he was doing, and he framed the situation as part of the intense pressures Davis faces behind the scenes. By addressing the matter publicly, Paul appears to be giving fans a glimpse into what he views as Davis's state of mind during the incident, an inside look that adds another layer to the already growing media discussion. However, it's important to note that Paul's statements are anecdotal and not supported by legal documentation. While his remarks may stir further speculation and fuel debate among fans, they also highlight the extreme scrutiny that comes with being a high-profile figure in boxing. In this sport, every action, every decision, and every controversy is magnified for the world to judge. Ultimately, Paul's commentary underscores the ongoing tension between personal challenges and public perception, a struggle that many elite athletes like Gervonta Davis must navigate both inside and outside the ring.
Was on Aiden Ross, and he shared a story about Jake Paul, about Gervonta, and he said, "Look, Aiden, it was 4:15 in the morning. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. Gervonta Davis was sober. He got sober into a car and drove out there at that hour to do this. This guy is extra bad." Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Jake Paul said that Gervonta Davis left his house sober and went to Tootsie's nightclub sober. I just want you to put your common sense hat on. How in the world would he know that? Does Jake Paul talk to Gervonta Davis? Did Gervonta Davis tell Jake Paul, "I was sober when I left the house"? Did Jake Paul have a camera in Gervonta Davis's car? Did he have a breathalyzer in Gervonta Davis's car? Did Jake Paul get toxicology reports from 3 days ago from Gervonta Davis? I am just curious as to how in the world Jake could possibly know that Gervonta Davis was sober. Let me tell you for sure, I will have a drink now and then. If I take a couple shots of vodka and I walk out the house, I'm a little buzzed. Sometimes my wife doesn't even know. How do you know, Jake? The answer is you do not. You were just trying to add something to the story to make Gervonta look worse. It wasn't enough that Gervonta Davis was